자, 역사적인 사건 Su-100P. 이거 그건데 월탱에도 있는 그 구축 있잖아요. 근데 이름이 생각이 잘 안 난다. 약간 이름은 생각 안 나는데 저런 거 있었죠.
The Soviet effort to improve the T-34 resulted in the T-44, a predecessor of Soviet MBTs. The Germans could produce a small revolution with their Waffenträger project, which was a combination of an artillery truck and an SPG. Germany failed to establish mass production before the end of the war, but the idea behind the Waffenträger was never lost. Around the same time, Lev Gorlitsky, the lead engineer of the Su-85,
그러니까 러시아 그 수 시리즈 있잖아요. 은근히 괜찮아요. 관통 좋고 기동 나쁘지 않고. 그래서 뭐 저는 대전기 러시아 재밌게 탔습니다. 러시아는 그 T-80 BVM인 거 거의 다 뚫고 재밌게 탔어요. 재밌게 탔고 편하게 탔어요. 와펜트리그 독일도 나쁘진 않은데 이제 대전기 후반으로 가면 빠른 애들이 없고 전부 다 느린 애들밖에 없어. 그게 힘들더라고. 이게 자리 잘 알고 어디 가도 이제 먼저 자리 잡을 줄 알면 되는데 모르면은 어디가 여기 갔다 저기 갔다 할 수가 없어. 그래서
The chassis was meant to provide a good level of mobility, while the small size and a 155-degree gun traverse could help it attack from both direct and indirect firing positions. With all of those pros, the SPG also weighed just a little bit more than 20 tons. The engineers also planned to fit the Su-100P with a 100mm gun. There was also another option, with the D-50, a 152mm howitzer, designated the Su-152G. The test stage uncovered issues with the transmission and the gearbox, but the military appreciated the concept of the Su-100P. The team received a recommendation to get the SPG into shape. Fixing the flaws and issues took another 5 years, but by that time, large-caliber tank destroyers were already going out of fashion. The Soviet army was planning to switch to missiles and rockets, so the Su-100P only got a tiny batch of 14 units. The SPG was soon decommissioned, but its chassis got a life of its own. It became somewhat of a standard for Soviet engineers in those years. The chassis was used in the 2K-11 Kruk, a surface-to-air missile system, in the 2S4 Tulpan, a self-propelled mortar, in the 2S3 Akatsiya, in a BTR, in a firefighting vehicle, and even in a self-propelled searchlight. There were thousands of vehicles using the Su-100P's chassis, even excluding experimental vehicles like the Object 120. And while the Soviet Waffenträger itself was never accepted into service in the Soviet Union proper, the engineers did create a truly versatile platform for combat vehicles used across the world even today. A local solution went far beyond the scope of the original task.
구정 장비들 특징이죠. 한번 만들면 좀 대량 생산하고 가능하면 있는 거 쓰려고 하죠. 그래야지 단가가 떨어지니까.